Alrighty, welcome to my instructional video. This may be a little bit different than some of the other instructional videos because I'm not standing in front of a blackboard or anything like that teaching. Instead today, we're going to be doing a little bit of an instructional video. My name is Matthew Harris, and I'm making this video for a class project actually. Today we are going to be learning about how to tie knots. Now everybody knows how to tie a couple knots, and particularly I'm thinking of the shoelace. And a lot of people know how to tie like a square knot, you know, where you go left over right, and then right over left, and you get your little square knot. You know it's a square knot because you can do this. Lots of people know those kind of knots, and they're incredibly useful in general life, but there's a couple more knots that I would like to show you. Particularly, I actually don't want to teach you a knot. I want to teach you about something called a hitch. Now, a hitch is any knot that is used to connect a line to something else, like this magic stick here. We're going to start with just the most basic hitch that you can do. And this hitch you can't really use on its own very often, but it's a good one to know anyway. So a hitch, we're going to talk about it. It's called a half hitch. And basically you take your line and you make a loop like that and you put it around your object. And that's one half hitch, believe it or not. Just basically wrapping it around once. And as you can see why it's not very useful by itself. However, if I do another half hitch and put that on there, then it gets a little bit stronger and we can maybe use it for something. But again, it's not really not used by yourself. It's usually used in conjunction with other knots, such as the clove hitch. Now, the clove hitch, now that's a good knot. There's two ways of tying the clove hitch. You can either tie it using the end here. This is called the working end because it's the end we work with and it has an end. Or you can tie it using what's called the bite. Now, the bite is just the middle of the rope. I work as an arborist, so I climb trees and I put on a harness and I use ropes and all kinds of stuff, and sometimes we have to cut large pieces of wood out of the tree without wanting it to fall. So we put a rope up in the tree and we tie it around stuff and we lower it down using a pulley system. So we use a lot of different knots, and sometimes we like to use the clove hitch. Usually we use the clove hitch to attach one line to the end of something that we need to haul up into the tree. So we're going to do it first using the working end. So you take your line and you wrap it around. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to form an X. See how that looks like an X right there? And once you have that X, you want to take that working end and you want to pass it directly under that central point of the X, like so. And then just tighten it down like that. And there you've got a clove hitch. And this stick is super slippery, so it's not going to hold on to stuff very well. But there's your clove hitch. Let's see how it's the X, the thing under past it. And oftentimes what we do just for added security is you take the end, you turn the loop over on itself, pass it over the end, and then you can do a couple of those, and it'll take your line right to the tip. And this prevents it from getting snagged on other branches and stuff as you're pulling it up in the tree. Anyway, so that's your clove hitch. But you can also tie that same clove hitch in the bite, or the middle of the rope, by taking it and forming a loop going upwards, like so, and then doing the same thing again, and you'll notice you have a little pocket there, and then you just stick whatever you want to stick through there. That's a stick. I stick a stick through it. That's pretty funny. Then when you tighten it down, you've got a perfect clove hitch. And you can do more half hitches if you want to, but we won't do that right now. Alright, so the second knot I want to show you is called a bowline. It's spelled bowline, and I always say bowline, but people are weird and they like to say bowline. I don't know why. So the bowline is a knot we use to lower heavy stuff out of a tree. Let's say we cut a big piece out and we want it to lower down. And basically the normal bowline is just a loop. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a running bowline is what we do. A normal bowline is where you form a loop, you go up through the loop, around that, and back down through. And then pull it tight. And that's a bowline right there. And see how it has that little loop that goes around? And to untie it, you just push that loop up, and then you can untie. But we use, it's called a running bowline, which is basically a slip knot. And you wrap it around your stick here, and you form that loop again. But before you keep going, you wrap it around the other side of what you're going to use, and then up the loop, same thing as we did before, around and down through. It looks complicated, but once you get it down, it's much easier. And then you can tighten it, and it fits real nice and tight. And then you can again throw on some more half hitches for security if you want. But that's my video, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something interesting about knots today. Thanks.